What's going on YouTube? It is Zay with the new channel YGO Drops. YGO Drops is basically going to be a channel where I drop Yu-Gi-Oh deck profiles of fun decks, rogue decks, and just decks that probably can only compete on regional levels. Some of the rogue decks or rogue options that I choose to put out there though may be able to compete on a YCS level. So just be on the lookout for those. And these are one of those decks actually that I feel that can compete on a YCS level, which is Zombie Control. This specifically is Shiranui Zombie Control because it's playing a very large Shiranui engine. It's also playing the Zombie World engine with the new Zombie World cards and the new Shiranui cards. I think it makes a very powerful deck. A lot of people are sleeping on it, and it can do a lot. It has a couple different win conditions. It has a couple different outs to things. It has a way to control the board in a good way, in like multiple different ways. So I just think like the deck itself is really powerful. So without further ado, let's just jump into this deck profile. So jumping into this deck, we definitely want to go ahead and deal with the monsters first. So I'm gonna deal with the Shiranui monsters first, and I'm only gonna explain cards that I feel like people don't understand what they do. So with the Shiranui engine, for those who are new to zombie decks, the Shiranui engine basically is a banish-based zombie engine. They most of the cards have effects when banished. Most of the cards may have effects on the field, but mostly it's when banished, right? So Shiranui's Solitaire is in most zombie decks. I don't really feel the need to explain it. The best comparison to use it, though, for with most zombie decks is that it's Lone Fire for zombies, specifically zombie tuners with 0 defense. Basically, you tribute a zombie monster. Usually it's Solitaire himself, and then you'll go ahead and you'll make a zombie or get a zombie tuner, and then you'll use the zombie tuner, which is more than likely Unizombie, to usually make an Omega, and that's usually most zombie players' opening plays, especially if they don't have anything else they can do. When used in a Shiranui based deck though, this card has another effect where if it's banished, it can summon another Shiranui that is already banished. So that's actually really good. I like the card for that, and it's a really good effect. The next thing that we're doing is 2 copies of Shiranui Spirit Master. You may have seen Spirit Master in other people's builds with Shiranui cards, and you may have seen it at 3. I particularly run it at 2. Shiranui Spirit Master is really good. When it's banished, it actually pops a face-up card on the field, so that's what it's good for. But also, when it's normal summon, it can special summon another Shiranui monster from your hand or your graveyard. Note that it says or your graveyard. Most people don't really pay attention to the or your graveyard part. So once you summon this, there's a combination where you can actually summon Spirit Masters or summon Solitaire. Solitaire tributes Spirit Master to pop a card, and then you'll get into your Unizombie, and then you'll still be able to go into Omega, and then bring your Spirit Master back into your graveyard. It's actually a really interesting combination that I like to use. But enough about that. If y'all want combos, y'all can comment under, and I'll try to put out some combos. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of the newer support, Shiranui Squire. So when you normal summon Shiranui Squire, you can special summon any of the Spectral Swords, the new Spectral Sword or the old Spectral Sword, doesn't matter which one. Also, when this card's banished, it acts like Dark World Dealings. So for those who don't know what Dark World Dealings does, it's a simple pitch and draw. So draw and then you pitch a card, right? So that's basically what it is. Then for one-ofs, I'm playing 1 Shiranui Samurai, an older card. But what happens is you banish a zombie type monster from your graveyard, This card gains 600, and if it gains to 600, it's basically able to um, whatever monster it attacks, it can banish. So even if this gets destroyed, the card that it battled gets banished, which is good most of the time. Also, this is really good when you banish a card like the next one of, which is Shiranui Smith. A lot of people don't play Shiranui Smith because they find it difficult to get out on the field. However, there's a new Shiranui spell card that makes it so it's very probable that Shiranui Smith will get on the field. So Shiranui Smith basically states that when it's used as synchro material, you get to search a Shiranui card, and that's any Shiranui card. So it's basically roted for the deck. When you think about it that way, and how easy it is to get Shiranui Smith onto the field from the graveyard or from your deck or from your hand, um, this card really isn't that big of a deal to just go ahead and try to at least play one of. And then on top of that, when this card gets banished, it protects your monsters from being destroyed by battle, or your zombie monsters from being destroyed by battle. So that's actually really cool in a sense because it helps you attempt to get over Avermax and not Avermax, Bull, and the Burrow brothers and all that kind of stuff, because that stuff's annoying, right? So so especially when you don't have your own out on the field yet. So yeah. Next, we're playing one Spectral Sword Shade and one of the original Spectral Sword. So the original Spectral Sword is basically the effect that when it's in the graveyard, except for the turn it was sent there, it can banish itself in another material that's in the graveyard, and then it essentially special synchros into another monster, right? If you do that with Solitaire, you can actually end up summoning this again, summoning this out on the field after, and then synchroing up again, up to 2 levels higher. So that's actually really dope when you think about it that way. Spectral Sword Shade, however, has the ability that when it's on the field, it contributes itself, and when it tributes itself, you can summon 2 zombie monsters that were banished, but one of them has to be a Shiranui monster, which is okay. This card is absolutely really broken that way, but it also has the clause that you're locked into zombie monsters after doing that. So it's okay, but like because most of your cards are zombies anyway, but like this card's really broken in my opinion, and I was thinking about running one more of it, but at the same time, this card's really easy to get out, so I don't even bother. And then we're going with generic zombie support, so I'm not even going to explain these. Just my ratios are triple Mizuki, double Unizombie, one Gozuki, and then for my zombie world support, Glow Up Bloom, Vampire Fraulein, one Baller Druck, and then 2 copies of Necroworld Banshee. These are all my zombie cards or zombie monsters, the main zombie monsters that you'll be using. And then my only hand trap is Ash Blossom. I feel like Ash Blossom is absolutely good in this deck because, again, you can recycle Ash Blossom over and over again, which means you have a way to continuously stop your opponent from getting into their draws. And sometimes that's really hindering for decks depending on what they are. So that's all your monsters. Let's move on to our spells. So spells, I think, are really easy to talk about. So the first spell is Ghost Meets Girl, a Shiranui story. I think this is one of the best spells in the deck, honestly. I'm playing it at 3. I don't care if it's a once per turn card, and I don't care if it's bad going first. Let me explain why. So basically, when your opponent has a monster out on the field and you do not, I believe, nope, your opponent just has to control a monster. If your opponent controls a monster, you discard a zombie monster, and then you can special summon one Shiranui monster with a different name from your deck or your graveyard. But it locks you into zombie monsters for the rest of the turn. But the thing about that is, again, that doesn't matter. Most of your all your deck is zombies, with the exception of some of your extra deck. So what this does is this basically says, I'm gonna get a Solitaire I'm gonna get a solitaire to the field. I'm gonna get, so it's 3 extra copies of solitaire. Um, it says I'm gonna get a Smith to the field, so it's 3 extra copies of Smith, and it's 3 extra copies of Samurai, which are the main cards that you want to bring out using this card's effect. So basically, it's saying I get a second chance to do everything that you just tried to stop me from doing. And that is absolutely broken in my opinion. So yeah, these two, this card is absolutely one of the best cards in the deck. Then you have, of course, the other really good spell, which is the field spell, Zombie World. Zombie World is a good card, period. Turns everything to zombies. I think everybody knows what this does. Turns everything on the field and in the graveyard into zombies, which means everything is susceptible to your Doom King's effects of being able to cancel out zombie monsters. One card that I play that nobody else plays, Zombie Power Struggle. You guys do not have to play Zombie Power Struggle. You can actually replace Zombie Power Struggle with something different, maybe an Allure of Darkness. If you'd rather an Allure card, Allure of Darkness, you can play Allure of Darkness, or you can just drop this all together. All this card says is that it's going to decrease or increase a zombie monster's attack by a stack. That's it. That's all it does. And then it has the ability to reset itself by targeting a banished card and shuffling it back into your deck. So that's why I said your Ash Blossoms are reusable in this deck, and it's because of Zombie Power Struggle. It literally reshuffles banished cards back into your deck to use again. You're almost never running out of cards per se. And this is actually really good for getting over a monster that maybe you couldn't get over before. A Boral Load. I'm not going to say a Boral Sword, but definitely a Boral Load. Maybe possibly a Boral Sword if you have this and Fraulein at the same time, right? So the other card that's really good for that is World Legacy Clash. So World Legacy Clash, I play that. It's a tech. It's a personal tech choice. You can drop this, or you can continue to play it, or you can just drop it all together. Like I said, World Legacy Clash, it really isn't that big of a deal. But World Legacy Clash is a card that not only affects the stats of your opponent's monsters, so you can get around problematic monsters, but it also banishes a card on the field, a Shiranui card specifically on the field, because you want to banish your Shiranui cards because they have specific effects when banished. You can do combinations with this card, a solitaire and a with this card, a solitaire and a Shiranui Spirit Master. But we'll go over that combo if you guys want to see a couple combos. We'll go over that combo in a different video, because this video is already probably going to be long. Another card I use is Shiranui Style Solemnity. Nobody probably uses this, but all this does is protects the summons of your zombie monsters, which sometimes you definitely want to do, but it also has the ability to make it so that hold on, what's that other effect? It's another effect on here. And you can send one zombie. Okay, so this card also acts as a continuous foolish for zombies with 0 defense, right? So basically it's a really good card, but it's also treated as Shiranui Style Synthesis. So while this is on the field, your Solitaire's banish effect to summon 2 more Shiranuis to the field is active. And if this card banishes the Solitaire and you get the 2 monsters, it's going to help you get into bigger link monsters, if that makes sense, like Boral Load and Boral Sword. Okay, so from there, running the Foolish Burial, the Monster Reborn, the Super Poly, you guys know what these do, and the Gold Sart. You guys know what these cards do. I don't really feel the need to explain cards that you guys know what they do, so definitely not going to explain those. And that is all your spells. Let's move on to the traps, which is a very short section. So moving right along, we're doing traps, and traps are simple. It's 3 copies of Shiranui Style Swallow Slash. This card pops 2 cards by attributing a zombie, and then it banishes a zombie from your deck. Usually you want to use Spirit Master, or you want to use the new monster, the Squire. So you get a draw and a draw and a pitch, and you get another free pop of a face up card, which is always good. Shiranui style Swallow Slash takes care of problematic cards 24/7. So we're good with Shiranui style Swallow Slash. And the only other trap card I'm playing is Shiranui style Success, which has the ability to special summon a zombie monster directly from your hand. And sometimes that's important, but also it has the banished effect that when this card gets banished, it makes another zombie impervious to card effects for that turn. So that's also really cool. And that's all of the cards for the main deck. So we're going to move on to the extra deck. I never do sides because these are decks that I actually play IRL. So that's 43 cards in the main. Let's go to our extra. All right, so extra. I'm of course going to be what's the word? I guess proxying the Heat of the Fire Charmer is meant to be a second copy of Sucker. But Vampire Sucker at 2 is ideal for any zombie deck. So if you're playing zombies, you definitely want to do 2 Vampire Suckers. Also, we have one copy of the Shiranui Skill Saga Supremacy, which is really good. If you can make Shiranui Skill Saga Supremacy and keep your Sucker on board, this card will help a lot, a whole lot. Like especially with all the synchro monsters you play. Then I'm running one Boral Load or one Boral Sword. There are 2 win cons. I feel like they're extremely important as far as win cons go. And then I'm running for my synchros. I'm running 2 Samurai Saga. They're the base synchro that I go into. I feel like I use them the most, so I play 2 of them. And then I play one of the new Squire sagas. Then I play Shogun Saga. I also play the Sun Saga. I feel like Shogun Saga is really good, and Sun Saga is good for its recurring effect. I play one Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon because this card's bonkers with Zombie World out. It's bonkers. You're taking your opponent's monsters, which is funny and insane at the same time. Then I'm playing the one copy of Omega, one copy of Borreload Savage Dragon because he's a savage and he's negations out the behind. Having the Shiranui Saga Skill Saga Supremacy, or having the Vampire Sucker attached to it is 2 to 3 negates easy. Real simple, real fast. The last synchro monster I'm playing is Yoko, the Graceful Mayakashi. So a lot of people are asking me why I'm playing Yoko, the Graceful Mayakashi, and it's because of Skill Saga. Skill Saga can actually bring Yoko, the Graceful Mayakashi back, which is a free pop. So I don't know why people are sleeping on this. This is one free pop, and it's really good because of that one free pop. And I believe the one free pop is non-targeting, right? So if a synchro summon monster in your possession whose original level is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect while this card is in the graveyard, you can banish one zombie monster from your graveyard, and if you do, summon this card. So it's got to be 11 or higher. We do have that, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Sun Saga is 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nope, it's 10. But the Sun Saga, this card basically special summons itself if I had a synchro that was a level 11 or higher. But we're doing it for its second part of its effect, which says if this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls, and that's non-targeting destruction. So being able to destroy something without targeting it is absolutely important. important in the game, and you being able to utilize this to do so is really good in my opinion. So yep, Graceful Mayakashi. And then the last card I'm using, of course, is my Super Poly target, which is Drago Necro Nether Soul Dragon, which I think is a absolutely good card. Combined with Zombie World, because Zombie World makes everything a zombie, and this card is absolutely broken because of that. Because of that, in combination with Super Poly, I actually do play a second copy of this, and I'll always side out the Mayakashi, or the Red Eyes Necro Dragon, and I'll put an extra copy of Nether Soul Dragon with an extra copy of Super Poly, because of the fact that it will actually smack an opponent's board really fast, especially a Pendulum players. So that's your extra deck. So that's the deck in a nutshell. If you guys have any suggestions, you can leave them in the comments below. If you guys want to see what combinations I was talking about, give me like 20 likes. It's my first video on this channel, and it's the and it's my first time go around with doing something like this. So if you guys want to see the combos that are available to this deck in particular, go ahead. If I can reach at least 20, maybe 30 likes, I'll go ahead and then show off some of the combinations that's available to this deck. Because some people, I'm sure, want to know how to play it, and some people are going to be like, well, there's ways to improve it. And if you have ways to improve it, go ahead and tell me those ways. I don't mind you guys giving me advice. I really don't. So this is Zay from YGO Drops, and I am out.